They come over, they look around. The postal workers, they're all looking around. They look at our houses. They try to listen to us and see what's going on. Next thing you know, there's officers showing up to your door. It happens down here in South Florida all the time.
No, just for calling the cops on you, they get $100, and then they act like that's. So I say call the cops on them. Hey, there's a guy snooping around my house. Look, I'd get in their face. I'd say, listen, you little punk snitch. Then they'll all be like, I'm calling. I'm a little special officer. Folks, see something, say something. I saw another newscast where they have TSA checkpoints on the highways, and it showed the TSA commander saying, if you see something suspicious, say something. Yeah, I see feds running illegal checkpoints. You know, you're a federal government run by foreign banks that brings drugs in. You're the threat. I see you. I say call all these police hotlines and report on the criminal government. Get in their face, man. When I see cops eating dinner somewhere now, I walk right over and I go, are you for the total takeover of America going on? Because you know it's happening. A lot of times they start laughing. Sometimes they go, no, we're not for it. I go, you going to take the vaccines under the Health Emergency States Act, the Health Emergency States Powers Act? They go, no, I'm not taking any. So most of them, but I mean, you know, you got to walk over and go, hey, you work for criminal system. I just want you to know that. Instead of them coming to us all the time and making us scared. And again, local police generally aren't like that. It's all these federally trained ones. But now they're training your trash person, and now they're training your local police. And I mean, it's just everywhere. Now waiters and people will ask you snoop questions. You go get a rental car, they do it. And I mean, it's just like a total spy society for Al-Qaeda that publicly works for the Pentagon. I mean, I had Colonel Schaefer, who ran the anti-Bin Laden operation, on saying, yes, most of these Al-Qaeda people are government agents. I mean, of course they run Al-Qaeda, so they could do this to America. It's so crazy how fast it's moving. And now Corzon's like, I'll steal $2 billion. Everybody's like, he's allowed to. SWAT team standing by. They just, you know. By the way, police, they're going to devalue all your currency. They're going to end up taking your pension fund. They're going to get rid of you, too. It doesn't matter, though. Most of you are going to go ahead and follow orders. Go ahead. Here's some of the headlines at Infowars.com right now. U.S.-backed Syrian rebels now trained by Kosovo's KLA terrorists. They've opened the old al-Qaeda training bases there. And the Pentagon admits they're using al-Qaeda against Syria. Because I got to get my rights up because al-Qaeda is so evil. But again, not like they're using the military on the streets of America or announcing they're going to launch drones and surveillance without warrants. I mean, everything's fine. Of course they are, but it's still okay. Panetta says authority of UN trumps Congress in getting approval for war on Syria. This is from our interview with Congressman Walter Jones yesterday. We have new info, new video up there in that big article. In fact, it should be red linked on Infowars.com. Coming up, spy drone almost causes mid-air collision with jet over Denver. Answer is ban pilots. Obama impeachment bill goes viral. Congressman calls for tougher TSA. Absolutely. He wants them everywhere. And don't worry, they will. Common ingredient in soft drinks causes brain damage. Damage to brain function. Well, of course. Prominent activist backs Occupy Bilderberg campaign. L.A. County health enforcers conduct door-to-door raw milk confiscation operations. Of course. CNN hits the lowest primetime demo rating. People know who the enemy is in 15 years. So that's just some of what's at Infowars.com. Let's continue with your calls, and I'm going to do my big drone breakdown. Robert in Missouri, you're on the air. Welcome.
Hey, Alex.
Hey.
I got some news for you. Have you ever heard of, I know you know this, radio frequency energy?
Yes.
Okay. I thought I'd seen a UFO 20 years ago. Well, I finally figured it out. These up on these cell phone towers and radio towers, they have all these, they look like drones, but they fly. And they usually only fly them at night. I haven't ever seen them released from the towers, but I've seen them actually flying in the air. So I just wanted to blow that whole UFO thing out of the water because they've been spying on us for over 20 years with this technology.
Well, and people seem to think a UFO means it's an alien. It just means unidentified flying object. People in the 50s and 60s would see the prototypes of the B-2 bomber. That's an ancient tinker toy that we're told is the most advanced, along with the SR-71 Blackbird in service in 55. Yeah, fastest plane we've got, 55. And again, it's not we, it's the globalists that we are the slaves of, that we finance our own enslavement. Sorry, I had to break my conditioning. We don't have the Air Force. We don't have those weapons. My own ego was thinking it was my military. Sorry. Let me just break that right now. Sorry, I'm just still deprogramming myself. Yes, all the time out in New Mexico and Arizona, they'll film these big drones, these flying saucer drones with cameras. They'll show blimps surveilling, and they say it's a UFO when it even has propellers, because even low-tech is very effective to have a big platform of surveillance equipment on it. And the media will go along and say it's probably Casper the Friendly Martian, instead of going, oh, look, that's a surveillance drone. Because there's not supposed to be secret government technology, because Mercury's good for us. Yes, they do have a lot of drone-type equipment hidden in plain view from some of my sources I've talked to. They've got all sorts of landing decks on top buildings they're renting. They've had giant high-altitude blimps up for at least 15 years. And now they're just getting everybody ready. I remember 5 years ago, protesters in D.C. saw fake dragonflies and hummingbirds, and they were conspiracy theorists. We ran with it, and we're evil kooks. A year later, they said, yeah, we got fake dragonflies. We were watching you. Fake hummingbirds. It's all your money, sucker. And we're going to spend it, so take some more shots. Ha, ha, ha. We win. Sorry, I'm just thinking of how wonderful our owners are, our masters are, and all their scum servants busy being soft-killed as well. Anything else, sir?
Yeah, like I've seen pictures on the web out in California where they have all these things up on these towers, and they got them painted up like big baseballs.
Yeah, well, a lot of that is to cover up what they think is ugly cell towers. They have them as palm trees, things like that.
That's all I have, man.
Well, thank you very much. Let's jam in another call here. Let's talk to Terry in South Carolina. You're on the air. Every
time, Alex, you call me Terry, it's Trey. But
I got to let you go, man. I'm sorry. It says Terry on the screen. Let's talk to, we're going to go to break and come back with more calls. Listen, here's the deal. I don't screen your calls. They just put the names up there, so that's fine. So don't ever call back again since I call you the wrong name. We also get this thing going on where people call up to the show, tell somebody one name, and then make an issue about how it's another. I don't have time for it, man. Okay? They're putting poison in the food and water on purpose. And if we can't get your name right and you want to tell me how we get it wrong every time, you're right, man. I live my whole life sitting here, and I say whenever Cherry, or whatever his name is, calls in, I want you to get his name wrong right now. That is what I live for. You see, what I tend to do is get real sarcastic when I'm in a rage and try not to blow up about what's happening. Okay? Now, when we come back, I'm going to get into the drone news. And I'm going to go to phone calls after that. 800-259-9231. 800-259-9231. We shall return after this quick break with the loving 30,000 drones to target your house via the Pentagon that you paid for because they work for the Federal Reserve now, scum.
Jones.
I shouldn't have got mad at that caller. Actually, here's the issue. I got these bright lights in my face. I got really good eyes. But there's this little computer screen that's got their names and numbers up there. Because this is a TV show / radio, I don't sit here and answer the calls myself. I probably should. And so I do get names wrong. I call Michael Michelle, and I call names wrong. But the point is, so what? Just move on, man. I mean, I could do like Coast to Coast AM does sometimes, where, at least in the old days, they would just say, caller, where are you calling from? And you could say your name and how you're listening. But it becomes a pet peeve that when I screw up a name, or the people putting your name in there screw it up, because both happens, or people mumble it, that I'm sick of hearing about it. Do you understand that? I've probably heard that 100 times. Oh, you screwed my name up. Who cares? Look, you can call me Alice if you want. In fact, I think we're going to start calling everybody. What did dude just come in here and say? We'll call him Bob from Toledo. What was he saying? Every caller will now just be called Dave from Wisconsin. How's that sound? Every caller. Now, Mike in Alabama's calling him. We'll call him Dave in Wisconsin. And the women will all be Brenda. Brenda from Texas, okay. Actually, I've got all this news here in front of me I need to get to, but I also do enjoy taking your phone calls. I want to get into the drone pieces and play what Napolitano had to say about it, and really break down what this signifies and what this means and the magnitude of this, because it's totally illegal. And Napolitano points that out. I mean, it's illegal, but so is all of this. But I'm going to go to your phone calls, but I got to give each person like a minute, because or you'll never get on air, and I'll never get to the news. And we got a guest coming up, Seabell Edmonds. Let's go ahead and talk to Wolf in Texas. You're on the air, Wolf.
Hey, Alex. You may know me. I met you at the TSA rally down in Austin. I'm the one who got you the information on the Special Forces out of Fort Hood deployment last year.
Yes, that was very good information. Thank you.
I've got a very good friend that saw the original Zapruder film, the uncut one, the one that hasn't been seen since 1963, except for sitting presidents. This individual's father, who was in the OSI and had high security clearance, this individual's brother, and the brother's friend who got the tape, all died mysteriously in their early 50s from heart failure.
Well, that's no big deal. Everything's fine.
He wants to come out and say what he saw, what the true film looks like, because he will.
Well, and we know the frames they cut out. There were other photos taken of the flashes and the powder smoke from the grassy knoll. The police all ran up there. I mean, we know we've had the head hitman who ran Black Op Murders Worldwide, deathbed confession, E. Howard Hunt, on this show. So, and we premiered the video, by the way. Coast to Coast had the audio, did a great job there. Sure, have them send me some information. You know, the difference is, though, if you don't have the uncut, quote, Zapruder film, which actually Groden actually did get, and because he was working at Time Life, and he actually got the Time Life photos. In fact, he's got some photos never before seen. He was waiting till his book came out to do it. By the way, call him and see if that book's out, this big color book. He was showing me photos with the whole back of Kennedy's head blown off. And he's a famous guy. I mean, he is the guy who did work there and did leak it and all that. And so I thought, from what I know, that they released to the media years later the cut one. But then, I'm going from memory here, but Groden did leak the full film. I mean, what is he saying he saw in this other film he reportedly saw?
The Umbrella Man and a shooter in the gutter that it's no longer there. Just before the sign. Well,
ma'am, I don't think the government killed Kennedy. They wouldn't do something like that. I mean, I think 91% of the American people are mentally ill. They haven't had enough mercury. I mean, the official story makes a lot of sense. Okay, so I appreciate your call, but send us the information. Again, I'm being sarcastic here today, ladies and gentlemen. Chris in Florida, you're on the air. Welcome.
Alex, yesterday in St. Petersburg, Mitt Romney showed up, and we, as we were changed staff, had a great opportunity to bullhorn him from feet away, and that video will soon be posted. Of course, flash a great, well-read sign with our website up there. I wanted to point out also with Glenn Beck, so-called debunking the footage from Linda Thompson's documentary called America Under Siege from the 90s, and that video of the alleged concentration camp, or camps that have been debunked, and of course Glenn Beck claims to have done so afterwards. I want to point out that what Linda Thompson had done was called for an armed march on Washington, D.C. with all the militias, and she was self-appointed a militia leader for the country, and then she called that off. She said she issued a letter of cancellation and saying that it was all a publicity stunt. So I want Glenn Beck to know that he's not really such a pioneer in debunking such an easily.
Well, I mean, look, that's the oldest trick in the book. For a month, Beck said he was going to expose the FEMA camps that are admitted on record for, quote, emergencies, and now they admit re-education camps, and he should come back and retract himself. Then he has the classic government minions from Hearst Publishing, the fathers of yellow journalism, on, and says, oh my gosh, none of it's true, and goes and debunks things that we debunked years ago. And I had predicted on record that he would do it. But I only said it the day before he aired it so that I wouldn't influence my prediction. But I appreciate your call, sir. I can't wait to see that Mitt Romney footage. Matt in Pennsylvania, you're on the air.
Alex, how are you doing?